Morning, everybody. Everybody is well. Happy Friday. Thanks so much for joining us. It's so good to be back. I got to tell you, so many Fridays in my little break. I was like, man, I'm bored. Where's my team? Where's my family? I mean, I know, thank God, but my daily boost family. Let's talk things over. Keep on moving. So it's an honor to have you. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything. We've been talking about the idea of change, of focusing on the things that we're good at as the beginning of how we change. And the reason for that is because, as we said yesterday, change really is the expansion of neuroinfrastructure. That's if we de-dramatize it a little bit, right? If we just get to the brass tacks, of course we're simplifying here, but from a simplistic perspective, basically change is when you create new neural connections. So habits breed new neural connections, which then feel normal because we are creating new neurostructure, right? So the fact that you now are used to the taste of coffee every morning is because you've been drinking coffee every single morning. And now if you never drink coffee and now you're drinking coffee for years, it's who you are. It's not who you are. It's the connection you have in your mind. So change is when you add new things to your life, it becomes habituated into your mind, and then it feels like you because it is you. Because your brain, which is an incredible thing, could be changed in some parts. You could add nuances and differences, and you can add habits and actions. And if you just keep them up, after a while, they feel normal. Then you think it's you because it is you. So when we're thinking through change, which is what we should be doing, the change that we're thinking about really is the expansion of what we are already doing. We can change by starting from scratch, but it's so difficult. And so when we think through how do we go about growing and changing in the season, the maybe strategically a stronger, better source is to be able to focus on that which I'm already doing, or that which I'm already interested in, or that which I already believe in. So I've already lined up so much of my mind. It's already there. I'm leveraging a belief that I worked on for years. I'm leveraging actions that I've been doing for months. I'm leveraging things that I am naturally interested in. And now on top of a very strong foundation, I'm going to put in a habit, a ritual, an action that will take this up past what is now normal for me or comfortable for me, and now start to condition the normalcy of something that I didn't have until now. So why is this so important for? So I want to talk to you today about a concept called internal versus external inspiration. Most of us, when we say inspired, what we mean is external inspiration. What is external inspiration? External inspiration is when you see something or you hear something that is outside you that gets you to see a version of yourself that you want to become, which inspires you to do something to get closer to that vision. Okay, so we go somewhere, we go to Israel, and we go see soldiers, and we look at all these guys willing to sacrifice for a cause, best shape of their lives, humble about it. And if you spent enough time with Israeli soldiers, which is, shocking how some of these guys are like, I mean, like insane commandos jump. I mean, all these guys, isn't it? You don't have to be a commando. You're like front lines, putting your life on the line, and you're like, whatever, it's my job. And you come out of that experience and you say to yourself, man, I got to sacrifice for my beliefs more. Or, man, I got to get back in shape. Or, man, I got to stop talking about how great I am, right? You see something, you get inspired. And what happens is you probably don't want to go to that unit. You may be too old. You may live too far. But you extrapolate what they're going through and you put it into your own mind, and it sets you a vision. And the vision says, I could be more. External inspiration. Someone speaks and says something, and you're listening and you're going, yeah, he's right. You watch a video about, a parent that, or friend that sacrificed, whatever. And you're like, man, I gotta. This comes sometimes in the negative way. Someone scares you. If you don't, then you're going to die. Right? The doctor says if you keep on eating this. So you create a vision of not wanting to be sick. And then you move your behavior in that direction. Where most of us live is in a world of external inspiration, followed by a lack of external inspiration. I'm inspired to be in better shape. I saw those soldiers. I'm pumped. I'm great. But tomorrow morning, there's breakfast at the hotel. And the Danishes are amazing. I'll try when I get home. And then on the way to work, there's a donut store. And the muffins are, literally from heaven. Literally. And here we go. Right? External and then false. And the reason we spoke about this is that really external inspiration is rare, even if you get it a lot, meaning it's rare in the ability to use it to grow. It's really there just to set direction. Growth needs something else. Growth needs something called internal inspiration. External inspiration is, here is where I want to go. Internal or intrinsic inspiration is, I am on the road. There's a feeling of movement. External inspiration is putting the address in Waze. Internal inspiration is driving the car. I'm far from the destination. I can't even see the destination. External inspiration sees the end. I can picture, not even in Waze, I get like a picture of where I'm going and it looks amazing. I'm going on vacation and I'm looking online and I'm looking at pictures and I'm going, whoa, external inspiration. I want to get there. I got 5 more days until we're going there. Look how beautiful that looks. Internal inspiration is being in the airplane, being in the car. You're far. You can't see anything. It's either blue skies or it's road. It doesn't matter. What you feel is you're moving. There's a feeling called move. That's what people take road trips. They just love that part. Some people at least are so hooked on the internal movement that they started to realize that it doesn't matter where you go. Who cares about the destination? That's what's called a road trip. The trip is the road. It's the movement. It's feeling like you're going somewhere. I know a lot of people. I'll say a lot. I know people that have said to me that they miss traveling. They don't miss going to the office building in St. Louis if they're from New York. They don't miss catching the flight back from Denver with the time change and getting into, to the airport. They don't miss that. They don't miss the lines in TSA. They don't miss the hotel they're going to when they're doing their corporate conference. What they're saying is they miss the movement. There's a hook that you get when you're traveling. Even if you're business traveling, in, out, going, moving, airports, airplane, taking off, landing, moving, going, Ubers. There's a certain momentum that builds because you're on the move. Now, this could be addictive in the wrong way. You're going to places that don't make sense. Let's put that to the side. There's a difference. Externally, internally. External inspiration is I want to be. Internal inspiration is I'm there. I'm getting there. I'm in movement. So let's take it a little step further. The guy comes back from the army base, says, these kids are so fit. I used to be fit. Right? So he goes home and he has that picture that he wants to be able to run. He's watching the soldiers running around the track or whatever. And I want to start to run. Our hero over here. He's living in a world of external inspirations, but he gets up in the morning and he starts running. He's spitting blood. He can't move. He's in pain the first second, but he sticks to it. And after 2 months of eating healthier and running every day, he completes 1 mile. His goal is to run a marathon. He completes 1 mile. How does this guy feel after 1 mile? Now, he's not close to his destination. He's nowhere near his destination. 1 mile, if you could run 1 mile, you're not even in the ballpark of a marathon. Like in a marathon, the first mile is the warm-up. So in terms of seeing where he's going, he doesn't see anything. He may still have it as a vision. He may go back to it, but he doesn't see it when he's on the road. How does this man feel, this woman feel, if he or she just finished the 1 mile on the 26-mile goal? They feel amazing. Why? Because they've tapped into internal inspiration. They've tapped into movement. They're growing in the direction of their goal. And if their goal is loftier, then they feel even greater. They're doing something never done before. They're growing in a way they never grew before. They're exercising muscles they didn't even know they had before. And as a result, what's building inside them is that locomotive of change. You see this all the time with people. It happens in everything. And I just use external examples because it's easier for me and you to relate to. It happens with spirituality, it happens with emotions, it happens in relationships, it happens with spirit, with God. It happens in everything. I'm only using this as an example because it's easier. Someone who's trying to be healthier, you see it all the time. They start running, they start eating healthier. They start going to bed differently. If they're using substances that are unhealthy for them, they start to wean off. They start changing. Why? Because when you start moving, your mind starts to feel this thing called internal inspiration. You're moving, you're driving, you're going. And you start to realize that feeling is awesome. And remember, we're all souls with a piece of God, which means the body that we have is limiting who we are. Remember, the soul only grows. The soul is infinite. The one thing that we know is that when this body, when this mind is growing in a purposeful direction, we are accessing deeper parts of ourselves. We're not moving towards the ground, if you will. We're moving towards the sky. And so that feeling of movement, that feeling of growth, that feeling of being able to get to a destination of change is inspiring in itself. I don't need to see something now to tell me I got to get there. I don't need to be told you're going to become. Yeah, I still have that picture in my mind. I can still be thinking of that finish line every single day. Fine. I can use whatever it takes to get me around that track. But when I go around that track for 1 mile, there's something that I feel at a place that is deeper than even my conscious thought that makes this exercise worth it. Growers grow. You see people like this. I would guess many of you are like this. They grow. They love growing. They love trying. They love exploring. They love pushing themselves. They grow. And tapping into that consistent cycle of growth is critical, because what it does is it satisfies a deep psychological need. The self-determination theory, one of the great theories, which is now that has been built on for years by two researchers, Deci and Ryan, out of, I believe, Albany or Binghamton, someplace in upstate New York, Rochester, one of those. Speak about how there are 3 basic psychological nutrients that we need: autonomy, connectedness, and mastery. We're going to hit them, but I want to, this concept of mastery is that each of us have an internal need to be good at something, to be moving in a purposeful direction, to have mastery over our environment. We can't stink at everything. That's why some kids blow out of school, because they're not naturally talented at the 5 or 6 subjects that are offered. But today's schools are, thank God, much better. Most schools today give you options, but I don't think it was like that always. And after a while, you can't stink at everything that you do all day. So you see kids like this. They'll go to school, they'll be terrible at whatever grades, they can't sit, but they'll come home and they'll play video games all night, because video games are designed to get you to be good at something. It's built to addict you, to get you to play more and more and more. Or they'll watch sports, or they'll do something else. Or sometimes, unfortunately, they'll hang out and do things that are destructive, because at least they're good at being destructive. Right? There are wonderful kids, really wonderful kids, who are doing really destructive things deep down, because it's all they're good at. And each of us need desperately to feel like we're good at something, or we're getting better at something, or we're moving into an area. So that's why so many people live in the world of TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, because they're sitting at jobs that they're not really that interested in or that good at. So they just have to find something else, and usually it's out of work. So they just, thank God it's Friday. Mastery is a way in which we move towards something. Doesn't mean we're at the end. It doesn't mean we are the master. It means that we're moving towards the area of mastery. It means we're getting better. It means we're developing a skill. It's being in the game. Thank you, Judy. When you are tapping into that, you're feeling differently. So that's why, strategically, if we start to identify things that we're already good at, and we start to become better, we are not only placing ourselves in a position where we are changing, we're actually placing ourselves in a position in which we are developing movement. Since it's easier to change in areas that we're already in movement towards or are good at, just by getting in this game, just by moving in this direction. If we go into the areas that we're not good at, just starting is exhausting. But if we go into the areas that we are already good at, we want to be great at, it's an easier way for us to just get on the road to going, to doing, to becoming a little more. Which then puts into our system that feeling of movement. I could be a little better at this. I can work a little hard on my beliefs. I can work a little harder into things that already interest me to get a little bit higher level of expertise. I already give. I can give a little more. I already take care of. I can take care of it with a little bit more of a smile. I already pray. I can pray with a little bit more focus. I already am nice to people. Let me just be more conscious of whatever the thing is. By moving in a direction that is more purposeful, what we're getting is not only the greater level of expertise, we're not only getting the change, we're getting the feeling of movement. We're getting internal inspiration. And once you tap into internal inspiration, you got to keep that flame going. It'll start to move into areas that we're not as good at and we're not good at all. That's how it works. In Hebrew, there's a concept, in Judaism concept, I'll say it in Hebrew and I'll translate. It says, mitzvah goreret mitzvah. A good deed leads to a good deed. An avera goreret avera, and a bad deed leads to a bad deed. What does that mean? It means that when you're in the motion of doing good deeds, you either get opportunities or you're already in the motion of doing good deeds. You want to do good stuff. But once you get stuck in that downward spiral, you keep on spiraling down. All right. Think about this over the weekend, if you can. Good deeds. Next steps. What am I good at? Because I got to keep on moving. Because as I moved in the area of purposeful goals, I tap into this thing called mastery. And from mastery, I tap into inspiration, internal inspiration. From there, there's no telling what I can become. All right. Have an amazing weekend. A good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. Looking forward to seeing you next week with God's help.